This is Hog Farmer Chris from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you start listening to Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it's no cost to you.
We're back! Welcome back to Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce.
Welcome back. This is season 3 of Red Zone in the Lab podcast. We are going to be discussing entrepreneurship, education, Black history, health, movies, family, and of course, sports. Please follow, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Twitter, and our Instagram and Facebook, and also website www.redzoneinthelab.com. Joining me today is Michael Phillips from the Richmond Times. How are you today, Mike? How you doing, man?
Yeah, man, I'm in the air conditioning, so I'm great. Camp life, it melts your mind.
Yeah,
it's fun though. It's fun being out there.
Yeah, it was pretty hot. Yesterday was a little hot out there, man, but today was kind of hot too. So yeah, let's get started. So, how was your summer? Did you take any vacations? Did you step away from football a little bit?
Yeah, man, for sure. Did a week with my family down in Texas. So I tried to find a spot that was hotter than here. We accomplished that. We had a great time. And yeah, once the OTAs are over, there's that kind of month, everybody gets a month away, not much news going on. With Dan Snyder, there's never a full break from the news, but we had a little break from the news. I got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, man. So speaking of Dan Snyder real quick, have you had a chance to come across that Twitter account that was made? I think it's tracking Dan Snyder, or have you come across that
yeah, it's following the yacht around, man. I need to be their correspondent. They can send me out to the Mediterranean. I will keep an eye on the yacht. I am prepared to do the dirty work here.
That was when I saw that, I said, oh man, this is something else. They got people tracking him and sending pictures of his yacht in different places. I just thought that was funny. All right, let's get into some football. Okay, so Sam Mills. Okay, let's talk about Sam Mills. You were there yesterday. From us, the fans looking outside, looking in, it seemed unexpected. It was unexpected to us. And before you give us a closer scoop, because you're closer to the action than I am, let me give you my conspiracy, and you let me know if it hits, right? So, and during voluntaries, right? Warren Sapp was there. He was invited by Jeff, right?
Yep.
He was there, and he started practice. He assisted. He helped. Did the things that he did. Everyone loved him. You all loved him, and so forth. So now we come to training camp, and Ryan Kerrigan is there. Ron kind of lets us know that Ryan Kerrigan is interested in coaching. He's going to give him a shot for a few weeks to see if this is really something that he wants to do. Me looking out, and when I was at camp yesterday, I heard some of the staff talking that they didn't know that Warren Sapp was going to be there. It was a surprise to them that he was there. And I thought that was odd, hindsight, looking backwards, because when I got there, after hearing that, I saw Sapp, and he looked very engaged. And when I say very engaged, he was very engaged in the drills. He was also very engaged in the 11-on-11s. And what I'm thinking is maybe Ron wasn't communicating with these two to Sam Mills about these two specifically. I don't really think it had anything to do about him being in Cleveland for the Hall of Fame ceremonies. I don't think Ron would have an issue with that. And then you could kind of look back to the spat between John Allen and Daron Payne. Was that handled correctly? But that's just my conspiracy. That's what I'm thinking it kind of stemmed from. But what about you, Mike? Where did it stem from, coming from you?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's a bad theory. The one thing I would say is I don't think it's that he went to the Hall of Fame. I think it's that potentially Ron waited until after the Hall of Fame. Maybe he made up his mind a little while ago. but, the Mills family is very near and dear to Ron. He wouldn't have wanted Sam Mills to suffer the indignity of going to Canton, standing on stage representing his father, and everybody's thinking, oh, that's the guy who just got fired. That he wasn't going to embarrass him like that by doing it to him before the ceremony. So because the families are so tight, the Riveras and the Mills, I think they'll both take the secret with them. I don't think we'll ever fully find out what it was. We've got so many hints here. Obviously, the fight, the players not getting along, Warren Sapp coming to visit, Ryan Kerrigan coming to visit. There was certainly no shortage of, voices there. And that's a room with a lot of dogs to start with, man. Like Payne, Allen, Sweat, Chase Young once he gets back. Like, that's a tough room to corral. And so it's one of the most important too. Like, if Ron sensed things weren't going the right way, you can't run the risk of not getting production out of that group for a second consecutive year.
I agree. I totally agree. All right. So, because I don't know. I know some people were saying that Sam Mills was there yesterday, but I didn't see him. Did you see Sam?
He was there Monday. So the Hall of Fame was over the weekend. He was there Monday, was not there Tuesday, and then today's Wednesday. Obviously, he wasn't there.
Yeah, because some people saying, well, maybe they was kind of confused with seeing him Monday, because I didn't see him Tuesday.
He wasn't there.
What I saw was that bucket cap. That's all I pretty much saw. And Jeff, obviously, he was there, but it seemed like. Do you think there's a spot on this team? Do you think they're going to fill that assistant role? And what do you think about Kerrigan and Sapp, and specifically Sapp potentially joining the coaching staff?
Yeah, I actually asked Sapp about that a month ago when he came the first time. I said, "You want to get into coaching?" He said, hell no.
Yeah.
And he said, "You know what? After practice today, I'm going to the Bahamas. I'm not going to that room to break down tape." I said, "Man, I don't want to go into coaching either. If that's what non-coaching life's like." I think he enjoys just coming by every now and then. I don't think the Kerrigan thing will turn into anything this year. I think that's just, he's sorting it all out, figuring out what he wants to do. It's good experience for him. So I think they'll both continue to. I don't think you need to hire an assistant D-line coach, though, because if those guys come by on a regular basis, that's certainly some pretty good help.
Right. All right. So let's go into the secondary. I'm a little concerned from yesterday and today. I know St. Juice is kind of dealing with something. So is WJ3 is dealing with something, but I'm a little concerned about the secondary, cornerback specifically. Do you have any concerns with them?
Depth is my concern. Yeah, if they're all playing and they're all healthy, I don't have concerns. Jackson, Fuller, St. Juice, I think that's good enough. I think that's a good NFL secondary. But there's a drop off thereafter. And, people say Corn Elders had a good camp. He has had a good camp. Danny Johnson's having a good camp. He's been good in camp. But those guys, to suggest those guys could come in and lock down NFL receivers, that's a big, big leap. And then you got like Troy Apke's still there. I don't know why Troy Apke's still there. Somebody needs to explain that to me someday.
I'm glad you said
it. So yeah, certainly William Jackson's injury is felt by everybody maybe having to be a notch higher than they need to be. So that's an important piece.
Yeah, I agree. I do have concerns with the depth also, and especially some of the early struggles that we had last year with the starters being there. So I don't expect to see St. Juice in the preseason, maybe not even WJ3, maybe even Kendall Fuller. Because if Ron and company trust this depth, if they're okay with it, then those guys are going to need to play to really show up that backside and say, okay, we're okay going into the season with them. What about the safeties? How do you feel about the safeties?
Yeah, obviously I love Cam Curl. Everybody loves Cam Curl. Going all the way back, I think Bobby McCain's good too. I'm curious. We talk about the Buffalo nickel, the slot, all these different positions going on down the line. I'm curious how much they'll let the safeties come up. They let Landon Collins come up into the box, even rush occasionally. We haven't seen a ton of that in training camp, but particularly with the weakness at linebacker, you're probably not going to send Jamin Davis on a blitz. You're probably not going to send Cole Holcomb on a blitz. I'll be curious if they let the safeties do that, or if that's something Cam Curl and them even want to do. Derek Forrest, I don't know. I'm seeing things from Derek Forrest. It's very different to say I'm seeing things at a practice, out here in Ashburn versus we're seeing things against an actual NFL defense. But that's a guy I've got circled to watch on Saturday, watch next week in Kansas City. What's Derek Forrest bringing to the table? He could be a rotation piece in this defense. I think he's potentially good enough.
Red Zone in the lab. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Christian Miles, native Washingtonian and real estate agent servicing the Washington metropolitan area. I started my career as an investor and later transitioned to the residential side. I really wanted to leave the investor side because I wanted to connect with people. Building relationships is important to me. I understand the buying and selling process can be challenging. I get it. I've been there. I'm a mom, wife, friend, and neighbor. I absolutely love helping families and connecting with people. Going through the home buying and selling process is stressful enough. When working with me, I make it fun. As a realtor, I think it's important to be able to connect with you. Every detail is important, no matter how small. Let me take care of the heavy lifting while you focus on the joys of finding a new home. Something I live by, people may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel. With me, it's an experience.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the lab with Deuce.
What about Percy Butler?
Yeah, I would love to see Percy Butler make a splash. Tougher to do as a rookie, and that's a position where you really got to use your head, know the defense, know the places. So if he could come in strong, that'd be it'd be like when Cam Crow was great as a rookie. You're like, not only great as a rookie, great at a position where it's tough to be great as a rookie. Or Sam Cosmi last year, stepping in, playing well. You're like, man, you remember it took Murray Moses 2 years to figure it out on the offensive line. Like, it takes guys a minute. It was just when he jumped in and did well, you're like, oh man, we got something here. So I'd love to see Percy Butler do it. I'm always skeptical of those first year guys, but that'd be a huge boost if they could. And Christian Holmes, he's had his moments, had his plays, seems to really know how to play with length, take advantage of what he's got out there. I would say those are kind of, those are rookie standouts so far.
Because I think Christian Holmes, he's going to have to be put on the 53, right? Because you can't take that chance of. Yeah, I'm
with you. Yeah, absolutely. Especially given what they've got in the secondary, you can't risk losing that guy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's talk about the linebackers. Obviously, everyone that's a Commanders fan, that's the weakest position. Do you agree?
I do agree. I think you're right.
Do we trust David Mayo?
Do we trust him more than Jamin Davis? Yeah, probably at this point. Yeah. I trust Cole Holcomb, period.
Yeah.
And that's the positive. I trust Cole Holcomb.
Have we seen any improvements from Jamin Davis, even in practice compared to last year?
Yeah, he has moments. Where he's fine, hits the right hole on the rush, fills the right gap. So few splash plays though. And he's a first rounder. It's, if he was a 6th round draft pick or a 5th round draft pick, he'd be out there. I'd be saying he's on track. He's learning the NFL. He's advancing. He's finding, maybe get him some snaps, get him moving. But he's a 1st round draft pick. You expect things out of those guys. You expect them to wow you, and impress you, and make big plays. And I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not seeing it.
What do you think the strongest base for us? Do you think they're going to go with Fadarian Mathis? And I love him. I think he really fits that nose guard, what they really need to be able to push Payne out to the 3 technique. I'm thinking as a base, I'm looking at possibly, depending on of course Forrest and Percy, but I'm looking at the 5 D linemen, Cole Holcomb, the Buffalo nickel, and the rest of the secondary. What is that? How do you look at a base for
5-1-5? Let's do it. All right, buddy. Yeah, I thought about that too. I think they're going to throw it at some people. I don't think it'll be their base, but I think they're going to throw it at some people. I think you're onto something there. I like it. I think base they're probably 4-2-5, where Jamin Davis or David Mayo is the second linebacker. I think Mathis is probably a rotational piece to start with, but I'm with you. I would love to see some 5-1-5. That'd be a treat, man. I don't know, like throw it at him. Play your strength.
Yeah, I love it. What about Chase? There's been some conflicting reports and about Chase and his rehab. I kind of had to put something out there. It was a Dallas reporter or a podcaster that was there Tuesday saying Chase's knee is swollen. He had a brace on. So I had to combat that, say when I was there doing his rehab, after his rehab, when he was doing autographs, he didn't have anything on his legs. He didn't have anything on his legs. But what's your take as far as Chase Young and his rehab?
Yeah, I think he's wearing the brace to help him while he works out, and that's fine. That's normal for that stage of the game. Logan Thomas does that too. I'm hoping to talk to him on Sunday. He'll be down at the NASCAR race down here in Richmond driving the pace car. So, yeah, we'll see what comes of that. But, yeah, I think he's out for 4 because that's the PUP list rule. If you keep him on PUP going into the season, it'll be 4 games. So I think you're looking at week 5, and it's almost too far to forecast. Yeah, it's 2 months from now. How's his rehab going to go between now and then? Could be anything, but brace yourself. I think he's going to miss the first 4.
Yeah, and that's what I'm bracing myself for. He's going to be on one of those, right?
I think so.
And I'd rather him do that. I mean, I have some PTSD from RG3, no round pun intended, but all in for week 1, and I don't want to go down that route anymore.
No, let's go all in for week 5.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. Let's before we move to Del Rio and the defense, Deron Payne, what type of season does he have to have, or is it we have to have in order us to really look at signing him long term?
So here's what confuses me, because they like Deron Payne. Like there's no posturing here. No, like we like Deron Payne, but we're not going to sign. They legit like Deron Payne, and they think he's an impact player. They've run this whole offseason as though the salary cap is this like completely inflexible thing. Like we traded for Carson Wentz, we're out of cap space. Sorry, come see us next year. You gonna sign a linebacker? We don't have any cap space. You're gonna sign Terry? We gotta wait and see what we can do with the cap. So they're no. Ron's talking like nobody has ever successfully manipulated the salary cap.
Right.
It's far too difficult to do. And then you got the Rams here and like $7 million, like backup tight end. Let's go. You're already at the cap. Like here's a 17-year deal. We'll figure it out later. And I'm not saying you have to go that hard, but it's been confusing to me that they haven't had even a little tiny amount of wiggle room there, kicking things to the future. I would think you could make it work for Deron Payne. Maybe, I don't think it's impossible that he ends up back here next year. I do think the Sam Mills thing could be interesting, and that, if he likes the new coaching staff, that could provide him a reason to stay. But he'll be open market. It's guys get paid on the open market. So is he going to get too expensive? It's a definite possibility.
Yeah, I think he is. I think they taking a chance on him at really blowing up. And I think having Fadarius Mathis on the team and giving Payne just a gap, right? For them being able to start shooting gaps more. I think that's going to really help those two, especially Payne, because I think he can be a good pass rusher along with John Allen.
You were out there for practice. He's a big boy, and he is strong this year. He's flying around. I'm impressed.
He looks good. He looks
good.
He looks in shape. He's moving well, so I expect a big year from Deron Payne.
Same.
Red Zone in the lab. Be right back.
Before we get started with the podcast, I want you all to go check out You Grow Girl. That's Grow, GROW, written by a dear friend of mine, Jay Smith. It's for daily affirmations for Black women. It is filled with beautiful, colorful images of Black women and powerful affirmations. You can find it at Amazon at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the lab with Deuce.
So we talking about the defense. So this is my take on Del Rio. I don't know how you feel about Del Rio, but let me just give you my fan experience with Del Rio, right? Okay, so we're at camp, and obviously you know how the pitches work. I'm sorry, not the pitch, but the pitches and the autographs, how everyone is lined up on the gate going up. And most players, you know, they pretend like they're nobodies and they want people to yell their name out. Then they'll come to the gate. But for the most part, they walk straight. They walk up the middle, like towards the middle. And those that don't want to stand a lot, you know, they'll kind of pro trot up. Or some players, what I say, take the back door, which go around the VIP tent or whatever, right? But no player, no coach, no one walks alongside the gate. No one does that, right? There was a coach. Well, you already know who it is, so I ain't gonna do the whole guess who it is like I did on Twitter earlier. But he literally walked up the gate, like I can actually like elbow him, walked straight up the gate, kind of grinning, and no one asked him for an autograph or a picture, right? Yep. So I think that has to take a toll on him, right? So what I ask you is, my thing is, if they're not a top 5 defense and with at least a playoff win, and they may be even stretching it, but I don't think he's here next year.
I don't know that he makes it to week 8.
That's what people is telling me. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it is what it is. They were bad last year. I mean, it is a pretty bad unit last year. And I always say it's got nothing to do with the political stuff. It's because he's bad at coaching a defense. Yeah. I mean, that's what this is when you get down to it. He has a lot of talent and he got nothing out of it last year. And you know, it's showtime for him. They put him on the video board at the FedEx practice the other night on Saturday. You know, nobody it wasn't like they booed him. Everybody just kind of ignored him and didn't applaud for him. It's hot seat time. It is absolute hot seat time. Oh yeah.
It has to have some type of effect on him.
Oh yeah. That'd be tough for sure. I'll say this though. Easy schedule out of the gate. You know, we all got short memories. Fans have short memories. Beat the Jaguars, beat the Lions. We're all feeling something going into Philly. He's got a chance. He's got the path to it. He just got to get the job done.
Yeah, because the opposite way, if we don't look good the first couple of weeks, he might not make it to week 8.
It's if they start 0-2, the calls for heads to roll are going to be very loud.
Yeah, I agree. But do you think Ron Rivera, you think Dan Snyder's in any position to fire Ron Rivera? I personally don't think so.
I agree with you. I don't think Ron's seat is hot at all. I think Ron's safe. I think Dan knows he can't call even more attention to himself at this juncture. So yeah, well, I do think Del Rio is in particular danger. I think Ron's totally safe, barring like a full-on 3-14 meltdown, which you see in the schedule. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What are your expectations for this team?
I think a winning record, 9-8, is a completely fair expectation for this team. If you want to drop the path to 10, I can see it. If you want to drop the path to 7 or 8, I can see it. Year 3, better roster. Taylor Heineke won 7 games.
He did.
You have an easier schedule and a better roster. I don't think 9's unfair. I just think that this is, all the excuses are off the board. Guys will get hurt. Guys always get hurt. But all the excuses are off the board. They've been together for 3 years, which is forever in NFL time. They really did get better at key areas, not counting linebacker, of course. But they got the schedule. There's a lot going for them here. I think a lot of the excuses are off the board. So to me, it's a disappointment if you don't get to 9.
Do you think now can win the division?
No. Because I think Dallas probably should be good, and I think the Eagles can be good. I do think the Giants suck. I think the Giants would be fourth by a mile. But I think Dallas and Philly are both good enough that I don't think there's any cheap 9 win. Now, there's the extra wild card, so there's a chance maybe 9 gets you a wild card if things break right. 10 is probably a sure thing to get in anymore, the way it's structured. But I think if it's 9 and things went well over the course of the season, I don't think anybody's mad about missing the playoffs. But I think if there's a losing record, like if adding Carson Wentz only gets them from 7 to 8, I think we all ask ourselves, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Let's get fan stuff just real quick. What do you think about the options they have for the fight song?
I don't like them.
Neither one. It's very hard to pick them, right? It's not like one like dramatically is better than the other.
No.
Either way you look at it.
Yeah, whatever they pick is fine. I think a lot of fans will probably just sing the old one, honestly.
Exactly.
And I don't know, it was a chance to the whole thing was a chance to do something creative, with creative name, creative logo, creative mascot. You know, you can keep the fight song and be creative, give a nod to Virginia and Maryland, give a nod to the past, whatever you want to do. But instead, they kind of chose like the blandest possible approach to the whole thing, which like it'll grow on us. It'll grow on all of us. I just don't know that at any point we'll be like, it inspires me now. Like I think it might grow on us. We get used to it, and we say Commanders, and it's cool. It's the team name. I just don't know that we'll ever be like, yeah, I'm rocking that. That's cool.
All right. Before I let you go, where are we with the stadium deal?
We are on a holding pattern until January. So the only offer on the table right now is from Maryland to do FedEx 2. And it's not a bad offer. And it's possible that they end up taking it. As you know, in a bidding war, you need two parties. And right now there is only one. And so Dan Snyder, I think correctly, doesn't want to just say, this is my only option, I'm going to take it. He wants to get Virginia back in the game. If you get Virginia and Maryland in the game, you pit them against each other, get a better deal, get more money. Virginia's legislature does not reconvene until January. They don't meet in the fall. They only meet in the spring. So if he wants Virginia back in the game, he has to wait until January. I think it's very possible Virginia does get back in the game. I think it was a weird confluence of events and things that led it to be unpopular, recently. Because even last January, we were all talking about like it was a done deal in Virginia, and then things got really hot. Really fast. So I think Virginia's back in the game in January, and then we start talking. But I do think that waiting means new FedEx, wherever it is not going to open in 2027. Like I think that window has sailed.
So what are their options as far as renewing? Can they go year to year, or do they have to?
They own FedEx Field, so they can stay there as long as they want with no payments, no negotiating. They just won out because the fans won out. They want something new and cool, and it's their impatience more than the lease or anything like that. They can hang on to FedEx for as long as they want. Okay,
yeah, that's good to know. So, thank you so much, Mike. Where can we find your content?
Yes, sir. Michael P. RTD on Twitter, richmond.com for the stories. I look forward to being up there Sunday, and we'll get our first look. Leaders on a mission, baby. Let's get this fight song humming.
Yeah, man. Because and I'm gonna switch back, but because One Loudon, they have a lot of open space. It's a lot of open space.
I think Loudon is my favorite of the viable options. Like we all want RFK, obviously, but of the viable options, I think Loudon's the best.
Yeah, because I would love to just go to DC Prime after every game. That would be awesome.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, Michael Phillips. Thank you so much for joining today, taking the time out your busy schedule to join us today.
I appreciate you. Catch you later.
All right, buddy. This is Red Zone and Lab Podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Thank you for listening to Red Zone in the Lab podcast. Please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Zone in the Lab. And you can download our podcast at Spotify, iTunes, and Podbean. And please visit our website at redzoneinthelab.com. Thank you.